Commander Jake Morrison stood on the UES Liberty's bridge, watching the inconceivable sight on the main screen. The alien ship dwarfed every human design, its form nearly 3 times larger than any craft humanity had constructed, the hull shining like beaten chrome against the void. Unfamiliar bands of light rippled across its skin in hues that made human eyes ache when stared at directly. "Sir, we're picking up a transmission," reported Communications Officer Danny Walsh, voice taut with strain. "It's coming in on multiple frequencies at once. They're using our language." Jake inclined his head. "Patch it through." The alien voice that filled the bridge sounded metallic and precise, speaking flawless English with an accent that seemed sourced from every direction and none. "Humans of the third planet, we are the Zeperian Empire. We have observed your species for an interval. Prepare for integration into our domain." Jake moved forward, hands folded behind his back. At 45, he had been with the Earth Defense Fleet over 2 decades, yet nothing in that time readied him for this instant. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. We welcome peaceful contact with your representatives. We are an independent species and will not accept external sovereignty over our worlds," he said. A sound issued from the speakers that might have been laughter, though it contained no warmth. "Commander Morrison, you misjudge your circumstances. This is not negotiation. This is notification. Your species will submit to Zeperian authority within 72 hours. Resistance is futile and will bring about your extinction." The message cut off suddenly, leaving the bridge wrapped in stunned quiet. Jake scanned his crew, mirrored shock and restrained fury plain on their faces. Lieutenant Sarah Bell, tactical officer, broke the silence. "Sir, our sensors register massive energy signatures from their hull. Their weapons appear to be cycling up." "Set condition yellow," Jake commanded. "I want a complete assessment of their ship's capabilities. Alert Earth Command immediately. Tell them we require Dr. Lisa Parker aboard the Liberty as soon as she can arrive." Dr. Parker appeared 6 hours later on the fastest shuttle obtainable. She was compact, in her 30s, with sharp green eyes and hair shot with gray from long hours examining alien relics retrieved from the deep. As humanity's chief xenobiologist, she had spent a career preparing for moments like this. "What do we know of them?" Jake asked while they strode through the Liberty's corridors toward the science lab. "Very little," Lisa replied. "Our deep domain displayed genetic or technological suppression consistent with their rule. We have detected control nodes, propaganda beacons, and orbital strongpoints across dozens of systems, 40, perhaps many more. Every discovery raises more grim questions." Jake and Lisa entered the lab where her team was busy dissecting the alien transmission and analyzing the energy signatures from the Zeperian ship. Dr. Carl Williams, a communications specialist, looked up eagerly from his console. "Doctor, we've uncovered some intriguing details. Their linguistic framework indicates a rigid hierarchy. The speaker identified himself as Vexar of the Warcast. But even more critical, we've detected biological markers coming from their vessel." Lisa moved to the main display, watching the detailed scans stream in. "Extraordinary. Look at this physiology. They resemble Earth's reptiles, but on a far grander scale. Average height is close to 3 meters. But focus here. See the bone density and muscular distribution?" Jake leaned closer, frowning. "What exactly am I seeing?" "They're designed for intimidation, not endurance," Lisa explained. "Massive skeletal structure, immense muscles, but their cardiovascular profile shows adaptation for short, explosive exertion, not long-term stamina. And this?" She highlighted neural data. "Their brain chemistry reveals something vital. They're virtually incapable of comprehending a hopeless fight. Every choice is rooted in cost-benefit logic. If the price becomes too steep, they abandon the mission." "That could prove useful," Jake admitted. "But right now, their ultimatum is the real problem." Almost on cue, the ship's comms erupted with static before resolving into the harsh alien voice. "Commander Morrison, you will present yourself aboard our vessel for formal surrender proceedings." "You have 60 hours remaining," Jake toggled the reply channel. "I request parley to discuss terms." "We will not surrender unconditionally." "Terms!" the voice echoed, laced with icy mockery. "You possess nothing worth bargaining. Your species fields perhaps 50 warships. We have eradicated civilizations boasting 10 times your might. Still, I will board your ship to confront you directly." A tense silence stretched before Vexar's final words came. "Very well. You will be transferred to our vessel within 1 of your hours. No weapons, no devices. Bring only yourself, and the awareness that your species' destiny hangs upon your tongue." 2 hours later, Jake stepped into the strangest place he had ever set foot. The Zephyrian craft's interior loomed vast and shadowed, its endless corridors pulsing faintly as though alive, the walls vibrating with a heartbeat rhythm beneath his gloved touch. The air reeked of ozone and a metallic tang, like scorched iron. Waiting ahead, in what passed for a command chamber, was Vexar. The alien's presence was even more overwhelming than the scans had promised. Nearly 10 feet tall, his scaled hide shimmered between deep cobalt and polished silver with each subtle movement. His eyes, vast and faceted like those of an insect, radiated a predatory brilliance. "So," Vexar intoned, his voice rumbling from somewhere deep within his chest, "the human leader arrives to plead for mercy." "I come," Jake replied, voice unwavering, "to understand why you assume humanity will bow." "Assume?" Vexar's mandibles twitched in what might have been amusement. "We have studied 47 species before yours. All followed the same pattern: initial resistance, mounting casualties, and finally surrender once the cost grew intolerable. You will be no exception." "You might be surprised," Jake answered evenly. "Humans have a saying, 'Give me liberty or give me death.' We mean it." Vexar's massive head tilted slightly, as though analyzing the strange concept. "You claim you would embrace extinction over integration into our empire. Yet integration ensures survival. Your people would live, albeit as subjects. Your offspring would prosper. Your culture would endure in our archives. Your science would serve our advancement. This offer is far more generous than what most species receive." Jake's thoughts flickered to his daughter, Kelly, safe on Earth with her mother. To millions of children playing under blue skies, unaware that their future was being weighed in a cold chamber light years from home. "And if we refuse," he asked, "then your kind will be erased," Vexar said without hesitation. "Every colony scoured, every vessel obliterated, every world rendered lifeless. The choice is plain: life or death." "For humans," Jake said quietly, "those aren't always opposites. Sometimes they're the same." Vexar's eyes gleamed with incomprehension, and in that instant Jake realized the truth. The Zephyrians had never faced an enemy willing to fight to the last breath. The very concept was alien to them. "You have 55 hours remaining," Vexar concluded. "Spend them wisely." Moments later, Jake stood once more aboard the Liberty. The war clock had begun to tick. But he also carried a knowledge the aliens lacked. They were about to discover why humanity never abandoned a fight, and why death itself could be a weapon. When the 72-hour deadline expired without surrender, the Zephyrian Empire struck. At precisely 00 hours Galactic Standard Time, their fleets descended upon 5 human colonies in perfect coordination, honed by centuries of conquest. Every ship knew its part in what should have been a swift exhibition of dominance. Colony Prime was first to cry out for aid. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Davis received the alarm while reviewing patrol rosters in her office at the 47th Colonial Marines Base. Beyond her window, dawn spilled golden light over the settlement where 30,000 pioneers had carved out new lives among the stars. Children strolled to school. Farmers set out for the fields. Life remained ordinary until the heavens blackened with alien warships. "All units, this is base command," Amy barked into her communicator as klaxons screamed across the installation. "We are under attack by—" The first Zephyrian vessels descended like liquid metal, silver hulls gleaming under the morning sun. They fell with an unnerving calm, slow and deliberate, as though time itself belonged to them. From the command bunker, Amy Davis watched as her fighter wings launched. She knew her pilots were flying into certain death, yet she also knew not one of them would falter. Captain Steve Martinez led the opening squadron. The aliens struck first, a single blast vaporizing his fighter into blue fire. But before he perished, Martinez's weapons scored glancing hits on the enemy lead craft. "Dragon Leader is down," Lieutenant K. Johnson's voice crackled through comms. "Continuing attack run." Amy's eyes locked on the tactical display. The battle unfolded with savage clarity. Human fighters were nimble, but Zepyrian weapons erased them with single shots. Alien hulls absorbed fire that barely scratched their gleaming surface. The equation was merciless. Humanity outmatched in every measurable way, and yet something unexpected. As human fighters fell, the survivors didn't retreat. They pressed harder. When Lieutenant Johnson's guns ran dry, she didn't return to base. She rammed her craft straight into an alien ship at maximum burn. The resulting fireball flared like a newborn sun. The alien vessel staggered, listing, damaged but not destroyed. For the first time, Amy thought she heard surprise bleed through the enemy's comm chatter. "All units, this is base command." Amy's voice rang out across the net. "Every shot counts. Make them pay for every meter. Show them what humans do when our homes are threatened." The same defiance erupted across all 5 colonies. On Kepler Station, Engineer Pete Johnson worked the night shift when the enemy arrived. The mining platform circled a gas giant, its enormous extractors harvesting resources from the endless storms below. Pete had served there 8 years, long enough to know every system by heart. When the Zepyrian ships encircled the outpost, their demand for surrender arrived immediately. Pete ignored it. Instead, he triggered the station's emergency lockdown, rerouting power from life support into the mining charges. If the aliens wanted Kepler, they'd have to seize it chamber by chamber. "This is Station Commander Helen Brooks," came the announcement over comms. "We are under boarding assault. Resistance is authorized. Repeat, resistance is authorized." Pete set his jaw as he worked. Born on Earth but raised in orbit, Kepler wasn't just his job, it was his home. And no one stole his home without paying the price. The aliens breached the hull with terrifying precision, squads flooding in perfect formations, weapons cutting through human defenders. But they hadn't prepared for opponents who knew how to turn a workplace into a weapon. By the time the first Zepyrian squad reached the reactor deck, Pete was waiting. Every mining charge on the station had been rewired into a single massive detonation, enough to annihilate everything, including himself. "Hey, aliens," Pete said calmly into his communicator, knowing they monitored every frequency. "Welcome to human space. Population 0. He hit the detonator. The blast consumed Kepler Station in a cataclysm so vast it lit up 3 neighboring systems. The explosion ripped apart 2 Zepyrian assault ships and vaporized more than 3,000 enemy soldiers. The Empire had come expecting resources and slaves. What they found was